Welcome back to Mr. Turner's art class. Okay, so right now it's November, and with my classes, I'm pretty much covering stuff dealing with Native Americans because it's getting ready to be Thanksgiving. So generally, I like talking about the Native Americans and stuff like that. And so the students, my elementary students, will know about them because they really are not teaching this stuff in school anymore. So I just kind of take it upon myself to do little things. Now, what you're looking at here is what is called a teepee. TP, okay? This basically is a tent. And I know you may have seen these before. You just most kids don't know what it is. This is a teepee. This is an actual teepee, if you can see that. Okay, so it's basically a tent. Now, the Native Americans, the group of people who are the original inhabitants of this country, before the European settlers came here, the Native Americans would travel from place to place. They were what you call a nomad. Okay, so nomads would travel from place to place. So they would make these things, teepees, as temporary homes, shelter, and they're real easy to make. And these things are very useful even today, because you can go to a store like right now if you want to and go buy a tent, and they have some really nice tents. But I like teepees because inside the teepee, you can actually start a campfire. You cannot start a fire in a modern tent, but these teepees, that's what they're designed for. They keep the inside is insulated, and you can in the middle of this you can basically start a fire, and then the smoke will come out the top up here because there's a hole up here. So I mean, it's really, even for today's standards, these things are great. And have I made them before? Yes, because I do go camping and I am a hunter, so I have made temporary shelters. All you need is sticks and a tarp, and you can make a teepee. Tents cost a lot of money. This one right here I made with, let me remove this, take this out. Okay. Now, I'm just showing you this because you're probably not going to be making this one. This right here is the ribs of the teepee, because all the teepee is you take sticks and you basically tie it off together at the very top, spread them out, and you can anchor these things to the ground, and that acts as the ribs for your teepee. Okay, this represents the cloth that you would wrap around this thing. I mean, these are simple. In real life, you would use poles, or sticks that are probably about as long as thick as your arm, your forearm here, or thicker. And then you just cut them to the right length. They need to be taller than you. And then you would lay, like how this one has this little overhang here, you could lay that like right on top of there, tie it off, take a third piece, stick it like right up in there, and then basically tie it off, and then you just have like your little tripod there like I have right here, and then there you go. So it's real convenient, real simple, real easy to make. So I'm just going to show you how to make a paper one, which is just as simple. Now if you want to try this one, go right ahead. Just go get some sticks. Just go get some sticks from outside and basically tie them off together like this, so you have a little tripod. And then once I show you how to make this part right here, you put that on top of it, and there you go, you got your teepee. Now, most of my students, they're not going to have time to go out here and go get these sticks. So I'm going to show you another way to do this. Basically, you're just going to end up using these. So I'll show you that in a second. First part first, we have to cut the paper. I did this in another video, so this right here should make sense if you've seen my other video of how to make a turkey. Okay, so I am going to do it again real quick. We have to make a half circle. So we take this, because I'm gonna use this paper to cut again. I'm gonna put a little crease right there, just at the bottom. So we see that little crease there. Take a piece of paper. I'm gonna poke a hole in it to get the right circumference, so I think I'm going to use the pen. I'll put that in the crease. Take my pencil right there. You should see what I'm doing. I'm just drawing out my circle. Now, if you're in my class, you would have already done this. Like I said, if this is my pivot point, so the closer to my pivot point that I put the little dot, okay, the smaller the circle. The further away from the pivot point, the bigger the circle. So you just want a half circle that's going to be about as big as paper. So now I'm going to take my scissors. We're going to cut the scissors. We're going to cut the paper. Just cut on the line. And like I said, if you saw the video on how to make a turkey, a 3D turkey, this is like really simple. Now I'm going to hold it like this. Once it's cut out, the little bowl part, make sure it's facing you. You will need some glue. Fold it like that. Okay. Now this little part here, I'm going to glue that. Get that glue out. Put a lot of glue on there. And then put it together. Now essentially you have your tent. You made a cone, you have your tent. But we got to make the smokestack, which is the part where the smoke comes out of. So take my scissors again. I am just going to put it right up here and then cut that off. So I have my hole there. Also, teepees, normally like the Native Americans, from what I have seen, they have it set up really nice where there's an opening like right here, and they have little tie downs where they can close it to, you know, especially at night when they're sleeping, you know, it'll keep animals out, and plus it'll keep the heat in. But you know, so sometimes I've seen it where it's just a piece of cloth and the cloth goes around the opening, or there's an arch. So I'm just going to make it easy on myself. I'm just going to make an arch. So all I'm going to do is just cut a very small arch right there. So I got my opening. So technically speaking, I have my teepee. Okay, I got a smokestack and I got an opening so the Native American can go through. Now, the ribs. Because realistically, I would have made the ribs first. These are the ribs. I would have made these things first before I put the wrap, so I can wrap the cloth around and form the teepee. How are we going to do that? Okay, so because I'm working at an elementary school and my students have very limited time, they don't have a lot of time. You know, I normally would have probably had them go outside and just go get the little ribs. So you're going to fold the paper up like that. Go get the little sticks for the ribs, but they can't go outside. They're not going to have enough time. So we're just going to take paper, make the ribs out of 2 sheets of paper. And you will need, okay, a rubber band, and I'm going to supply the rubber bands. There's a rubber band right there. It's got a little small one. Don't need no big rubber bands. You know, get a pack of these different color rubber bands, you know, just for like $1. So just going to use that. Now I am going to take the paper. Essentially all I got to do is just roll it up. It's going to do like that. I want it as thin as possible. So that's basically what I'm doing at this point. I am just rolling it up. Doesn't have to be all pretty. So I want to leave that little bit of a hang right there, because again I am going to take my glue. I am going to glue that. Put a lot of glue on it. Make sure it's good and thin. So technically we have our little pole here. A little pole is going to represent our rib. So we got to do the same thing. We got to do that one more time. So I am going to roll that up. Now, like I said, if you can go outside, or if you see this video early, go get you some sticks. You know, get you some yarn or something. Okay, I think I can make that thinner. I want that to be thinner. Okay, there we go. Gonna take this. Gonna glue that. And glue that down. Okay, so technically I have my 2 poles. Now, if I was being for real, this would be 3 of them, and we would do like that. And then we would tie them down so they would stand up like a tripod. But because we're making this out of paper, you can just use 2 of them. I'm gonna take my rubber band, stick that in there. I'm just gonna cross them. Stick this up in there. I'm gonna see how tall it is, which I don't want it to be that tall, so I'm just gonna cut it right there, because don't need them to be that tall. Put that down some. Let's say we do like that. There we go. Stick that in there, and we do like that. Okay, so we have our smokestack. Okay, we have our ribs, we have our smokestack. Now, the thing about the teepees are that the Native Americans, being you know, very creative people, they love artwork just like anybody else. They would customize their teepees with a bunch of designs based on, you know, the group they belong to, or probably just what they like, because, you know, all people like what they like. You know, I don't think I would like to have the same teepee as everybody else, the same tent as everybody else. I want my own tent. So I'm gonna switch this out and put that right there. So there are different designs that you can do that you like, and you can put on here. Now this is a little cheesy little design that, you know, represent my Native American teepee, but you know, you just want a repeating pattern. So you can put what you want on it, you know, because your teepee is what you would be living in. This is for real, you know. So I think that's just fun, just to decorate it. So I'm gonna want all my students to decorate their teepee. So this little stack right here, we're using the paper and the rubber bands, is what my students are going to do. But I would say if you are at home, okay, go get the sticks and tie it off like this, because this, you know, is better. This is a lot better. This is sturdier. You would take that and put it in there, and then, you know, you would make your teepee look more real, more authentic. Okay, on the inside you would have your ribs. These would be tied down to the inside of it, so this thing wouldn't move if the wind was hitting it. But this is an ingenious design. Now, like I said, the Native Americans were nomads, and because they were nomads, they had to travel from place to place. Sometimes they would have to travel suddenly. Native Americans had to follow the buffalo. They depended on the buffalo, the big old bisons that ran around in America back in the day. You know, wherever the buffalo go, they would follow it. At least the Plains Indians did. There's other Native American groups, you know, but the Central Plains Indians, they definitely would follow the buffalo, set up camp somewhere nearby. They would use their teepees, stuff like that, you know. And then, you know, when the herd would leave, they would get their poles and take the tarps and wrap it all up, and they carry it off like real quick. So this is a very ingenious design that people still use today, you know, and this is something worth knowing how to do, because you just never know. It could be an emergency and you might be outdoors and you might have to make something like this, just, you know, a small one for survival. And like I said, all you need is 3, I would say at minimum you need 3 of these poles, and you just break off a piece of like a tree that's real thin or whatever, just knock it down, cut it, whatever, you know. If these were big, just cut them, knock it down, whatever, you know, and just put it on there like that. You know, go get another one, you know, put it on right in between, tie tie it real tight so it will not move. Wrap a tarp around it. There you go. You got a temporary shelter. You know, it's simple. So you're going to design your teepee, whether you're using the sticks or you use something like this. And if you use this, this to me looks lame. If you just use white paper, that's all my students really have. So I'm going to tell them to decorate these things too. And I'll probably have them tape it to the inside at the bottom or something like that. And then I would tell them to decorate this, and they're going to decorate the teepee itself. And you know, just have fun, just enjoy making it. I mean, I really just wanted my students to know what these are. You know, this is useful information. I mean, even though this was done back in the early days in America, I mean, these things are still useful. So, okay, so there we go. I hope you enjoy this project and learning something about the Native Americans. You know, for this month. I would urge you to look up some more information on your own. Look up pictures of teepees. You know, go online. You know, just read up on it. Give respect to, you know, the Native Americans this month, because their people have gone through a lot, you know, and you know, this month is a little touchy to them because of what happened to their people, and I can understand, but I want you to, you know, read up on it and look at how, you know, how great their culture was and some of the things that they did that we can learn from them and do these things today and, you know, survive, you know, and or just have fun just building stuff like they did. So I hope you enjoy, and I will see you next time. Peace.